Brought to you by WikiVD Documentaries. Brock Lesnar.
Brock Edward Lesnar is an American professional wrestler and former mixed martial artist, amateur wrestler, and professional American football player. He is signed with WWE, where he performs on the Raw brand and is the current Universal Champion in his first reign. After his successful amateur wrestling career at Bismarck State College and the University of Minnesota, Lesnar signed with WWE in 2000. He was assigned to its developmental promotion Ohio Valley Wrestling, where he was a three-time OVW Southern Tag Team Champion with Shelton Benjamin.
After debuting on WWE's main roster in 2002, Lesnar won the then WWE Undisputed Championship 5 months after his main roster debut, at the age of 25, becoming the youngest champion in the title's history. He was also the 2002 King of the Ring and the 2003 Royal Rumble winner, making him the youngest King of the Ring and Royal Rumble winner as well. Following his match with Goldberg at WrestleMania XX, Lesnar left the WWE and pursued a career in the National Football League. He was named a defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings, but was cut prior to the start of the 2004-2005 season. In 2005, Lesnar returned to professional wrestling and signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in his first match. After a contractual dispute with NJPW, he also wrestled as IWGP Heavyweight Champion in the Inoki Genome Federation. In 2006, Lesnar pursued a career in mixed martial arts, as he signed with Heros and won his first fight, against Min Soo Kim, in June 2007. He then signed with the Ultimate Fighting Championship the following October. Lesnar lost in his UFC debut against Frank Mir, and then won his second fight against Heath Herring. In November 2008, Lesnar defeated Randy Couture to become the UFC Heavyweight Champion. Shortly after a successful title defense in a rematch with Mir, Lesnar was sidelined due to diverticulitis. He would return at UFC 116 to defeat interim UFC heavyweight champion Shane Carwin and unified the heavyweight championships, becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion in the process. Lesnar then lost the championship to Cain Velasquez at UFC 121. In 2011, he was once again sidelined due to diverticulitis and underwent surgery. Lesnar returned at UFC 141 in December, losing to Alistair Overeem, and promptly retiring from MMA. Lesnar was a box office sensation in UFC, as he took part in some of the best-selling pay-per-view events in UFC history, including UFC 100 and UFC 116. In April 2012, Lesnar once again returned to professional wrestling, rejoining WWE after an 8-year hiatus. 2 years later, at WrestleMania XXX, Lesnar defeated The Undertaker to end his undefeated streak at WrestleMania.
He achieved world champion status twice since his return, having won the then WWE World Heavyweight Championship in 2014. And the Universal Championship in 2017. In June 2016 at UFC 199, the UFC announced that Lesnar would return to MMA to fight at UFC 200.
His opponent was later revealed to be Mark Hunt. Lesnar would defeat Hunt via unanimous decision. However, after Lesnar tested positive for clomiphene, a banned substance on the UFC's anti-doping policy, he was suspended from competing in the UFC by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for 1 year, fined $250,000 in his victory overhunt was overturned to a no contest. Lesnar then retired from MMA for a second time in 2017.
Lesnar is a 5-time world champion in WWE, a 1-time heavyweight champion in the UFC, a 1-time heavyweight champion in NJPW, and a 1-time heavyweight wrestling champion in the NCAA, the only person in history to win a championship in each of those organizations.
He has headlined numerous pay-per-view events for both the WWE and UFC, including WrestleMania 19, WrestleMania 31, UFC 100 and UFC 116. Lesnar has been managed by Paul Heyman throughout the majority of his professional wrestling career. In 2015, an ESPN.com article referred to Lesnar as the most accomplished athlete in professional wrestling history.
Early life. Lesnar was born and raised in Webster, South Dakota, the son of Stephanie and Richard Lesnar, who owned and operated a dairy farm. He is of German descent. He has 2 older brothers named Troy and Chad and a younger sister named Brandy. At age 17, he joined the Army National Guard, where he was assigned to an office job after his red-green color blindness was deemed hazardous to his desire to work with explosives. He lost this job after failing a computer typing test, and later worked for a construction company. Lesnar attended Webster High School, where he played football and competed in amateur wrestling, placing 3rd in the state championships his senior year. He then attended Bismarck State College, where he won the National Junior College Athletic Association Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. In his sophomore year, he transferred to the University of Minnesota on a wrestling scholarship for his junior and senior college years, where he was roommates with future WWE colleague Shelton Benjamin, who was also his assistant coach.
Lesnar won the 2000 National Collegiate Athletic Association Division I Heavyweight Wrestling Championship his senior year after being the runner-up to Stephen Neal the year prior. He finished his amateur career as a 2-time NJCAA All-American, the 1998 NJCAA Heavyweight Champion, 2-time NCAA All-American, 2-time Big Ten Conference Champion and the 2000 NCAA Heavyweight Champion, with a record of 106-5 overall in 4 years of college.
Training and television debut, 2000-2002. In 2000, Lesnar signed with the World Wrestling Federation and was sent to its developmental territory Ohio Valley Wrestling, where Lesnar first met future friend and manager Paul Heyman. He formed a tag team known as the Minnesota Stretching Crew with his former college roommate Shelton Benjamin, and together they won the OVW Southern Tag Team Championship on 3 separate occasions.
Lesnar wrestled several dark matches in 2001 and 2002 before being called up to the WWF's main roster. Lesnar debuted on WWF television on the March 18, 2002 episode of Raw as a villain, attacking Al Snow, Maven and Spike Dudley during their match, while also being accompanied by Paul Heyman, who was seen giving instructions to Lesnar. When the brand extension was introduced in the WWF, Lesnar was drafted to the Raw brand. Later, Heyman was confirmed to be Lesnar's agent and gave Lesnar the nickname, The Next Big Thing. Lesnar's first feud was with the Hardy Boys and Lesnar defeated Jeff Hardy by knockout after Hardy was unable to respond to referee Theodore Long at Backlash on April 21. His first official televised match. The next night on Raw, Lesnar faced off against Jeff Hardy's brother, Matt Hardy, and defeated him in the same fashion. Lesnar and Shawn Stasiak lost to the Hardy Boys at Insurrection on May 4 after Stasiak was pinned, but he attacked all the participants after the match. At Judgment Day on May 19, Lesnar and Heyman defeated the Hardy Boys.
WWE Champion 2002-2003. In June 2002, Lesnar won the King of the Ring tournament, defeating Bubba Ray Dudley in the first round, Booker T in the quarterfinals, Test in the semi-finals and Rob Van Dam in the finals, earning him a shot at the WWE Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam. At Vengeance on July 21, Lesnar lost to Van Dam in a WWE Intercontinental Championship match by disqualification. On July 22, Lesnar joined the SmackDown brand after a quick feud with Hollywood Hulk Hogan in August 2002. Lesnar defeated WWE Undisputed Champion The Rock at SummerSlam on August 25 to become the WWE Undisputed Champion and youngest WWE Champion at age 25, a record previously held by The Rock himself.
He also became the second fastest professional wrestler to win the WWE Championship since his debut, behind only Ric Flair. At the time, the WWE Undisputed Championship was being defended on both brands, so Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff expected Lesnar to return on Raw the following night.
However, SmackDown General Manager Stephanie McMahon announced that Lesnar was only required to defend the title on SmackDown shows and events, forcing Bischoff to establish a new championship for the Raw brand, while the WWE Undisputed Championship was then renamed the WWE Championship. Lesnar's rapid rise to the top of WWE in 2002 led to a feud with The Undertaker, which involved a match at Unforgiven on September 22. The match ended in a double disqualification, and Lesnar retained the title. Lesnar faced The Undertaker again at No Mercy, this time in a Hell in a Cell match. Leading up to the match, in the storyline, Lesnar broke The Undertaker's hand with a propane tank. Despite Heyman begging McMahon not to let The Undertaker use his cast as a weapon, the request was denied, and the match went on as planned. At No Mercy on October 20, Lesnar defeated The Undertaker to retain the title. After his Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, Lesnar successfully retained the WWE Championship in a handicap match with Heyman against Edge. At Rebellion on October 26, Lesnar's next opponent was Big Show, and Heyman was convinced more than anyone that Lesnar could not win, trying to talk him out of defending the title.
Lesnar refused and defended the title against Show at Survivor Series on November 17. Lesnar performed an F5 on Show, but Heyman pulled the referee out of the ring, voiding the pinfall. This allowed Show to chokeslam Lesnar on a steel chair to win the title. This loss was Lesnar's first pinfall loss in WWE and led Lesnar to turn into a fan favorite. Following Survivor Series, Heyman made it clear that Lesnar would not get a rematch, and had snuck a special clause saying so into his contract. In order to gain his revenge on Big Show and Heyman, Lesnar interfered in his first title defense, which came against Kurt Angle the next month at Armageddon on December 15, where Lesnar executed the F5 on Big Show, which enabled Angle to pin him and win the title. On the following episode of SmackDown, however, Angle introduced Heyman as his manager and, despite promising Lesnar a title shot earlier in the evening, declared that Lesnar still would not get it. Lesnar's rivalry with Heyman and Big Show resumed, which culminated in a match at the Royal Rumble in January 2003, with the winner being placed into the Royal Rumble later in the evening. On January 19, Lesnar would defeat Show and entered the Royal Rumble match as the number 29 entry, the second to last competitor to enter the match. He eliminated Matt Hardy and the world's greatest tag team, which was composed of Charlie Haas and his former OVW teammate Shelton Benjamin, who were mentored by Angle. Lesnar would then eliminate The Undertaker last and win the Royal Rumble, which guaranteed him a title match at WrestleMania 19. After the Royal Rumble, Lesnar and Chris Benoit defeated Angle, Haas and Benjamin at No Way Out on February 23. During the match at WrestleMania 19 on March 30, Lesnar botched a shooting star press, a move he had done numerous times in developmental matches, and jammed his head and neck.
This stunned Lesnar and forced Angle and Lesnar to improvise the finish of the match, a pinfall by Lesnar that allowed him to win his second WWE Championship. Lesnar was diagnosed with a concussion from the botched shooting star press. After WrestleMania 19, Lesnar turned his attention to John Cena, who had returned from injury in February 2003 after an F5 into a ring post, with Cena claiming Lesnar nearly ended his career and even named his new finishing move the FU as a jab at the new champion. The feud ended in a match at Backlash on April 27, where Lesnar defeated Cena to retain the title. On the following episode of SmackDown, Lesnar returned to his rivalry with Big Show after, in the storyline, he injured Rey Mysterio badly. During the match at Backlash, Show's attack resulted in Mysterio being carried out on a stretcher and backboard, and Show took Mysterio off the stretcher and swung the backboard into the ring post, compounding the injury. Lesnar called out Show, who demanded that Lesnar put his title on the line against him. This led to a stretcher match for the title at Judgment Day on May 18, which Lesnar successfully retained with help from Rey Mysterio and a forklift.
During the scripted rivalry on the June 12 episode of SmackDown, Lesnar lifted Big Show off the top rope in a superplex, which caused the ring to collapse on impact. As Lesnar and Big Show continued their rivalry, Kurt Angle returned from his neck surgery and he and Lesnar began to form a more friendly rivalry, as the two were allies yet contenders for the title.
At the first ever SmackDown brand exclusive pay-per-view in July named Vengeance, Lesnar defended the title against Angle and Show in a triple threat match, which Angle won by pinning Lesnar to regain the title. Lesnar continued to aggressively pursue the WWE Championship despite his friendship with Angle. Mr.
McMahon became involved in the angle, at first berating Lesnar, who had involved himself in McMahon's rivalry with Zach Gowen, for losing to Angle. This all turned out to be a swerve that came into focus on the August 7 episode of SmackDown, in Kelowna, British Columbia. That night, Lesnar and McMahon were to face each other in a steel cage match, with Angle as the special guest referee as per McMahon's orders on the previous week's program.
During the match, Lesnar had passed out due to a staged backstage incident and McMahon was set to pin him, but Angle refused to allow McMahon to win that way. As the two men began to argue, Lesnar attacked Angle with an F5 and kept attacking Angle while McMahon watched and celebrated with him afterwards, turning back into a villain in the process. At SummerSlam on August 24, Lesnar lost to Angle when Angle made Lesnar tapped out to the ankle lock. After that, Lesnar would cement his villain turn by brutalizing smaller wrestlers and attacking his rivals on a more consistent basis. He returned to performing the F5 into the ring post, as he did to Spanky and Gowen, and interfered in Angle's matches on two separate occasions.
On the September 18 episode of SmackDown, Lesnar defeated Angle in an Iron Man match for the title by a final score of 5-4. Lesnar successfully defended his newly won title against the debuting Paul London on October 9 episode of SmackDown. He returned to feud with The Undertaker, as Lesnar had previously cost Undertaker the title in a match against then-champion Kurt Angle, which granted him a shot at Lesnar's title. At No Mercy on October 19, Lesnar defeated Undertaker in a biker chain match. After Paul Heyman returned to WWE as SmackDown General Manager, Lesnar aligned himself with his former manager.
With Survivor Series coming up, Lesnar decided to challenge Angle to a traditional Survivor Series elimination tag team match. Lesnar chose Big Show as his first teammate, with Heyman adding a returning Nathan Jones and a debuting Matt Morgan to bring the team number to 4. Angle chose Chris Benoit and the APA to join his team. However, Feuds was injured during a match with Lesnar, and Angle's team was forced to find a replacement for him. Lesnar's team picked A-Train to fill the fifth and final spot for them after he attacked John Cena, who refused to accept an invitation to join Lesnar's team. Cena instead joined Angle's team, and Angle added Hardcore Holly as the fifth member. On November 16 at Survivor Series, Lesnar was eliminated after Benoit forced him to tap out to the crippler crossface.
Lesnar defended the WWE Championship against Benoit on SmackDown, where Lesnar won after Benoit passed out to Lesnar's debuting Brocklock submission hold.
Feud with Goldberg and departure, 2003-2004. The Survivor Series in November 2003 also marked the first time Lesnar met Goldberg from the Raw brand.
After Lesnar claimed in a backstage interview that he could beat anybody in the world, Goldberg interrupted the interview and introduced himself to Lesnar, shaking hands with him before leaving with a stare down. Lesnar followed this rivalry with a feud involving Hardcore Holly. In the storyline, Holly wanted revenge on Lesnar for legitimately injuring his neck during a previous match between the two in 2002, which left Holly in need of neck surgery and out of action for a year. At the Royal Rumble on January 25, 2004, Lesnar defeated Holly to retain the WWE Championship. Later in the Royal Rumble match, Lesnar attacked Goldberg and attacked him with an F5, enabling Kurt Angle to eliminate him.
Lesnar defended the WWE Championship against Eddie Guerrero at No Way Out on February 15. Goldberg attacked Lesnar with a spear while the referee was unconscious, allowing Guerrero to pin Lesnar for a near fall. Lesnar then attempted an F5 on Guerrero, but Guerrero reversed it into a DDT on the title belt and executed a frog splash to win the WWE Championship. An angry Lesnar then began feuding with Goldberg, blaming him for losing his title, and a match was set up between the two at WrestleMania XX on March 14.
During the feud with Goldberg, Lesnar was also at odds with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was shown suggesting to Goldberg that he attack Lesnar at No Way Out. After Lesnar attacked Austin on Raw and stole his four-wheeler, Austin was inserted as the special guest referee for the WrestleMania match.
On the March 4 episode of SmackDown, Lesnar defeated Hardcore Holly in his last match on a weekly WWE televised show. Behind the scenes, it was widely known that the match was Goldberg's last in WWE. Only a week before WrestleMania, rumors surfaced that Lesnar too was leaving to pursue a career in the National Football League. As a result, Lesnar's match with Goldberg became a fiasco as the fans at Madison Square Garden jeered and heckled both professional wrestlers vociferously. Goldberg won after a jackhammer, and both men subsequently received Stone Cold Stunners from Austin. New Japan Pro Wrestling 2005-2007. On October 8, 2005, Lesnar won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship on his debut match in a three-way match with Kazuyuki Fujita and Masahiro Chono at a New Japan Pro Wrestling show in the Tokyo Dome.
Lesnar is one of the few American wrestlers to have held this title. He won the match by pinning Masahiro Chono after an F5, which he had renamed the Verdict. Since WWE owns the trademark on the F5 name. After the match, Lesnar stated that this name was referring to his lawsuit against WWE, who filed a motion for a temporary restraining order to prevent Lesnar from continuing to work with NJPW on December 6, but the court did not grant it. Following that, he had two non-title victories against Manabu Nakanishi and Yuji Nagata.
Lesnar successfully defended the championship on January 4, 2006 against former champion Shinsuke Nakamura. On January 13, WWE once again filed an injunction against Lesnar to stop him from defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, which was also not enforced as he went on to retain his championship against former Sumo Wrestling Grand Champion Akabano on March 19. At the Sumo Hall, Lesnar had another successful title defense against Giant Bernard on May 3.
This was the first American vs. American title match in NJPW since Vader vs. Stan Hansen in 1990. On July 15, NJPW announced Lesnar would not return to defend the IWGP Heavyweight Championship due to visa issues and had been stripped of the title. A tournament was held on July 16 to determine the new champion, which was won by Hiroshi Tanahashi. Lesnar continued to possess the physical IWGP Heavyweight Championship belt until late June 2007.
Approximately 1 year later, on June 29, 2007, Lesnar defended his IWGP Heavyweight Championship against TNA World Heavyweight Champion Kurt Angle in a champion vs. champion match. Inoki Genome Federation promoter Antonio Inoki had stated Lesnar was the proper IWGP Heavyweight Champion as he was not defeated for the title. Angle would defeat Lesnar by forcing him to tap out to the ankle lock to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, as recognized by IGF and Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. This was Lesnar's last match as a professional wrestler until 2012, when he re-signed with WWE. Various storylines and ending the streak. 2012-2014. Lesnar returned to WWE on April 2, 2012 on Raw, as a villain, by confronting and delivering an F5 to John Cena. The following week on Raw, General Manager John Laurinaitis revealed that he signed Lesnar to bring legitimacy back to the WWE and become the new face of the WWE. Laurinaitis also announced that Lesnar would face Cena at Extreme Rules, with the Extreme Rules stipulation later added to the match. At Extreme Rules on April 29, Lesnar lost to Cena despite dominating the match. The following night on Raw, WWE's Chief Operating Officer Triple H refused to give in to Lesnar's unreasonable contract demands, resulting in Lesnar attacking him and breaking his arm with a Kimura lock-in storyline. The next week on Raw, Paul Heyman made his return as Lesnar's legal representative and claimed that Lesnar was quitting WWE.
He later announced a lawsuit against WWE for breach of contract. At No Way Out in June, Triple H challenged Lesnar to a match at SummerSlam, which Lesnar refused.
Stephanie McMahon would later goad Heyman into accepting the match on Lesnar's behalf on July 23. At Raw 1000, at SummerSlam on August 19, Lesnar defeated Triple H by submission after once again breaking his arm in storyline. The following night on Raw, Lesnar declared himself the new King of Kings and said that he would depart from WWE after his victory over Triple H, stating that he had conquered everything in the company. Lesnar returned on the January 28, 2013 episode of Raw, confronting Mr. McMahon, who was about to fire Heyman. And despite Heyman's pleas, Lesnar attacked McMahon with an F5, breaking McMahon's pelvis in storyline. The following week during the Miz TV talk show, Raw managing supervisor Vicky Guerrero revealed herself as the one who signed Lesnar to a new contract to impress McMahon. On the February 25 episode of Raw, Lesnar once again attempted to attack McMahon, only to get into a brawl with a returning Triple H, which resulted in Lesnar legitimately having his head split open and requiring 18 stitches. The following week on Raw, Triple H issued a challenge to Lesnar, requesting a rematch with him at WrestleMania 29, which Lesnar accepted, but only after Triple signed a contract and Lesnar named the stipulation.
After Triple H signed the contract and assaulted Heyman, the stipulation was revealed as no holds barred, with Triple H's career on the line. At WrestleMania 29 on April 7, Lesnar lost to Triple H after a pedigree onto the steel steps. On the April 15 episode of Raw, Lesnar attacked 3 megabytes before Heyman challenged Triple H to face Lesnar in a steel cage match at Extreme Rules, which Triple H accepted the following week. At the event on May 19, after interference from Heyman, Lesnar defeated Triple H to end their feud.
Lesnar returned on the June 17 episode of Raw, attacking Heyman's fellow client CM Punk with an F5. Despite the accusations from Punk, Heyman claimed that he was not behind Lesnar's attack on him. However, Heyman turned on Punk in July, and claimed that Punk could not beat Lesnar, which led to Lesnar making his return and attacking Punk on the July 15 episode of Raw.
The following week on Raw, Punk challenged Lesnar to a match at SummerSlam on August 18, where Lesnar defeated Punk in a no disqualification match. On the December 30 episode of Raw, Lesnar returned with Heyman to announce his intentions to challenge the winner of the upcoming WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Randy Orton and John Cena at the Royal Rumble.
Lesnar then dared any wrestler who disapproved of that notion to challenge him, which was answered by Mark Henry, and a brawl would ensue, ending with Lesnar delivering an F5 to Henry. The following week on Raw, Henry challenged Lesnar again, only to have Lesnar dislocate his elbow with the Kimura lock-in storyline, which led Big Show to come out afterwards to confront Lesnar, thus starting a feud which was settled at the Royal Rumble on January 26, 2014, where Lesnar defeated Show after attacking him with a steel chair before the match began.
On the February 24 episode of Raw, after Heyman stated that Lesnar had requested a match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania XXX, instead receiving an open contract to face anyone else of his choosing, The Undertaker then returned and attacked Lesnar with a chokeslam through a table, setting up their match at WrestleMania XXX. On April 6, Lesnar defeated Undertaker after executing 3 F5s, ending his undefeated WrestleMania streak. at 21, a feat that was described by Sports Illustrated as being the most shocking result since the Montreal Screwjob. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVD Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.